Right, hello, welcome to this video. This is the first homework 3 video that I shall be doing. Also, I hope that you notice a improvement in the sound quality of my voice. That's because I now have a beautiful microphone that I've bought, so I should sound a lot better, a lot less interference, and I should sound a lot clearer. I think that's alright. So you shouldn't have to turn me up that much and kind of listen through interference and background noise and all that. It should be a lot clearer, and it should just improve the quality of these videos by a fair bit. Anyway, let's get on with today's video. Here are the topics that we've done this week. So, solving equations by factorising, quadratic graphs, cubic and reciprocal simultaneous equations, and solving simultaneous equations graphically. We're going to start with solving equations by factorising and work our way through the topics that I set for the homework 3. So this video is going to be solving equations by factorising. Let's get started. So, number 1, factorise x squared minus 4x minus 45. So, the key thing with doing factorising, let's get the pen out, is understanding what it wants you to do. So, x squared, let's see if I can just do that. There we go, right, x squared minus 4x minus 45. So it's understanding what all the different things here wants you to do. So this 45 means you want two numbers that multiply together to get to 45. Because when you have your factorization finished, you have something that looks a bit like this. You have x minus a, where a is a number. You have x minus b, where b is a number. And when you expand this, you have x squared. X times minus b is minus xb. X. So we've done x times x. We've done x times minus b. Minus a times x is minus ax. Remember, a and b are just arbitrary numbers that we've not given a value to. Minus a times minus b is ab. So we have x squared. If we bring this x here, this x and this x out as a common factor, we have minus b. Actually, hold on, I'm going to change that. We have minus x b plus a, and then we have ab. We have two numbers that times together to get this last number and add up to get the middle number. But if you notice, if you just have a look and notice, actually this thing here is a plus, but in our question this thing here is a minus. We've done a minus times a minus to get to our plus, but like I say, this thing here is a minus. So to get a minus, and when you multiply two things together to get a minus, you multiply a positive and a negative. So when we actually go through I'm going to just erase all the ink on the slide, there we go. When we go through x squared minus 4x minus 45, and we go through this, actually we want a positive and a negative, so we're going to do x plus a and x minus b. So when we expand that, we get x times x, which is x squared. X times minus b is minus xb. a times x is positive ax, and positive a multiplied by negative b is negative ab. Now if we tidy this up a little bit, so we get it in the form of a quadratic equation, ax squared plus bx plus c, that kind of thing, we have x squared. Now this thing is a minus, so let's make our thing look like a minus as well. Minus x brackets. So when we take minus x out of minus xb, we're left with just this b. So we put a b here. Now this thing here is positive. And how do you get a positive? By taking, if you take out a negative from a positive, you're left with a negative, because you're going to have a negative multiplied by a negative that gets you that positive you were looking for. So we're going to do minus a, because when you expand this, when you have minus a multiplied by minus x, you get positive ax. And at the very end, we're going to have minus ab, which is grand. So actually now, instead of actually just having the b and a added together, we're now looking for the difference. We're looking for b minus a. We're looking for the difference between the two. So we have two numbers that multiply together to get 45 and have a difference of 4. So let's do some equating. So let's write this down. We write down that a b equals 45 and b minus a equals 4. Now you can solve this simultaneously if you want, but it's just a bit awkward and it's kind of a bit unnecessary. So what we're going to do is just plug in numbers and see what works. We want two numbers that multiply together to get 45, so let's just write down the pairs of numbers that multiply out to get 45. So we have 1 times 45, you have 3 times 15, you have 9 times 5. Now these numbers all multiply together to get 45. We're looking for a pair that have a difference of 4. Now what's the difference between 1 and 45? Well, 45 minus 1 is 44. That's not 4, so we cross that out. 15 minus 3, that's 12. Again, that's wrong, so we cross that out. 9 minus 5, that gives us 4. That's what we're looking for. So we tick this, and now we know that it's going to be x plus 9, x minus 5, or x minus 9x plus 5. Now the number that we have here, this minus 4 is a negative. So it means that the negative number is going to be bigger. So when we do this, x minus something, x plus something, we want the bigger number to be the negative number. So when we add them up, when we do minus 9 plus 5, we get minus 4. Because if we put the 9 here, we put the 5 here, and then we expand this, we get plus 9x minus 5x. That gives us plus 4x. We don't want plus 4x, we want negative 4x. So we have to put the bigger number next to the negative sign. So we're going to put that minus 9 here and our plus 5 here. So when it says factorize that, we get our x minus 9 and our x plus 5. Now it says solve the equation where equals 0. So we factorized it, so we have this thing here, and now we equate this to 0. And when you equate something to 0, well, you have some arbitrary thing multiplied by another arbitrary thing equaling 0. You know that one of these things has to equal 0. You can't multiply two numbers. You can't multiply two non-zero numbers and get 0. It's impossible. One of these things has to be 0. And we don't know which, so we assume that both of them can equal 0. And we assume that both of them do equal 0. So x minus 9, we equate that to 0. We add 9 to both sides. We get x equals 9. So we can put that here. We can put x equals 9. And then we equate the other side, we equate this as well. Because we've equated this to 0. And now we equate this to 0. So x plus 5 equals 0. So this time we take off 5 from both sides. X equals negative 5. So those are our two answers. X equals minus 9 and x equals negative 5. And this explanation I went through for the first question was very detailed, very long. I'm not going to do this for every question, but I just thought it was important that you are familiar with the reasons why we do these things, just so you got a bit of a deeper understanding. If it wasn't too easy to follow, if it was a bit difficult to follow, send me a message. I will do it all over again and I'll make a separate video just on this, and that's absolutely fine. I just want to make sure it's important that you actually understand it, and I can't tell if I don't know if you understand it. It's not like in the classroom where I can just be like, oh, did you get this? And you could be like, oh, actually, I don't get that bit. Can you go through that bit again? And I can do it straight away. I'm perfectly happy making as many videos as it takes on whatever you want me to make videos on, just as long as you understand what I'm talking about. So we've done this question. Let's go to the next question. Again, we're doing the same thing. So this time we have a plus here and a negative here. So we're going to have x and x. We want two numbers that multiply together to get plus 12. And then when we sum them, when we add them together, because when you have a positive here, you know that both of the numbers are going to be the same as that. So when you have x squared minus 4x plus 2, you know it's going to be x minus something, x minus something. When this 2 becomes a negative, you're going to have a plus and negative. So the way I like to do it is when you have a general equation of a the general equation of a quadratic equation. Yeah, so like this. When the sign is a plus, it means both of these signs that are after the x in the factorising are going to be the same as whatever that sign is. If it's a minus, they alternate. It becomes a positive and a negative. But when you have a plus, they're going to be both negative. Or if this is a plus, they become both positive. But in our question, it's a negative. So we are going to do two little negatives. We're going to do a negative here and a negative there. We want two numbers that times together to get plus 12 and sum to 7. So if we go through the numbers and multiply to get 12, 1 times 12, that's 3 at 12, 2 times 6, and 3 times 4. We add these up, we get 1 times 12, 1 plus 12, which is 13, 2 plus 6, which is 8, and 3 plus 4, which is 7. That's what we're looking for, so we put a 3, and we put a 4, and that's going to be our answer. We put our answer there, we put x minus 3x plus 4, and now we solve it. We let each of these things equal 0. So we do x minus 3 equals 0. We add the 3 to both sides. And we get x equals 3. We do the same with the 4. X minus 4 equals 0. We add 4 to both sides. We get x equals 4. So our solutions are 3 and 4. X equals, or just something like that. Right, I'm just going to take a quick break for a second. I'll be back with you in a bit. Right, just going to test that this is recording. Oh, it is recording, what a delight. So I answered this question, I answered the question afterwards as well actually, and possibly even the question after that. And then realised I wasn't recording like a total div. So I'm going to go through this again, and hopefully I'm not going to screw it up this time. Right, so we have x squared minus 12x plus 35. So this number here means that when we have our two brackets, the signs are going to be the same because a negative times a negative makes a positive. So we're going to have a negative and then a negative. We want two numbers that multiply together to make 35 and add up to 12. So what numbers multiply together to get 35? Well, 1 times 35, but that's not it because the minus 12 would be a minus 36. And the other one that I can think of, and I think is the only one, is 7 times 5. 7 plus 5 is 12. So we have our answer. And because it's both negative, it doesn't matter where you put it. Minus 7, minus 5. That's our answer for this part 1. Solve the equation. We just equate both of these things to 0. X minus 7 equals 0. We add 7 to both sides. X equals 7. And then we do the same with the 5. X minus 5 equals 0. We add 5 to both sides. X equals 5. So our two answers are 7 and 5. So you get 1 mark for this, 1 mark for this, 1 mark for this. I would imagine, I don't actually know. Factorise this. Now this one is a bit trickier because we have a minus 72. So we have a minus here. So we know that our brackets are going to be x plus something, x minus something, because a positive times a negative is a negative. We want alternating signs. So if you go through our multiples, our pairs of numbers that multiply to get 72, 1 times 72, 72, 2 times, now we want something, we want half of 72. How many 2's going to 7? 2, 4, 6, 8, 3. Remainder 1. How many 2's going to 12? 6, 36. And we're not there yet because they don't have a difference of 1. 3 times what? Now let's go 3, 72, 3, 6, 9, 6, 2. Remainder 1. How many 3's going to 12? 3, 6, 9, 12, 4. 3 times 24. Now 4 times, let's have a look, 4's into 72. How many 4's going to 7? 4, 8, 4. Remainder 3. How many 4's going to 32? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 20, 24, 28, 32. 32. I'm very sorry for that. 8. Sorry, that should be a 1. 8. 18. 5 is not a 5 because any multiple of 5 ends in a 5 and a 0. So we can skip 5. 6. So we do 6, 72. How many 6's going to 7? 1. Remainder 1. How many 6's going to 12? 2. 6 times 12. 7. It's not 7. 8. Let's look at 8. 8 into 72. How many 8's going to 7? 0. How many 8's going to 72? Now let's work our way up. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72. We go up in our 7s, we get to 72, which is 9. 8 times 9. And our number is going to be 8 times 9 because we're looking for something that has a difference of 1. And negative here, because we've got a pair of negatives, we're looking for the difference of numbers, and our difference is 1. 8 times 9 is a difference of 1. Now, because this is negative, we want the numbers that when they add up, they're going to have minus 1. So we're going to put the bigger number of these two numbers as a negative. 8 and 9, the bigger number is 9, we put our 9 as a negative, and our 8 as a positive, because when we do minus 9 plus 8, we get minus 1. So when we solve for this, we add 9 to both sides, we get x equals 9. We take off 8 from both sides, we get x equals negative 8. So our numbers are 9 and minus 8. And there's our answer. Let's go to the next question. This one is nice and simple. We have a plus and we have a plus. So we have two numbers that are a plus. So we have x plus something and x plus something. So two numbers that times together to get 24. 1 and 24, that makes 25. No, 2 times 12, that makes 14. No, 3 and 8, that makes 11. No, 4 and 6, We add this up, we get 10. That's what we're looking for. We get a 4 and we get a 6. We solve this, we get x plus 4 equals 0. We take 4 off both sides, we get x equals negative 4. We do the same with the 6, we take 6 off both sides. Cross that out, pretend that doesn't exist. You get x equals negative 6, so we get minus 4 and minus 6. With this question, I put down as an optional. This question is quite tricky, but I'm going to go through it with you. Sorry about that, I'm very easily distracted. I'm going to go through this question with you using the formula of finding the area of a trapezium. Now the area of finding a trapezium is, where's the pen? Okay, I'm going to change the colour. So we're going to do the area of a trapezium is half A plus B H, where A and B are these two things here, and H is the height. So we're going to do half of A plus B. A plus B, so we're going to sub our things in. A, we're going to just call this A, call this B, call this H. So we're going to say A, B, H. So A is going to be x plus 2, B is going to be x plus 6, and our H is going to be x minus 5. X plus x is 2x, 2 plus 6 is 8. Now you might look at this and think it's a bit tricky, but the nice thing is this fraction, this here, has two even coefficients. When I say coefficient, I mean a number attached to a thing. So when I say 3x, the coefficient is 3. When I say 4x squared, the coefficient is 4. It's the number attached to the thing. That's not a very good way of explaining it, but I hope it works for now. So, pen. We have a 2, we have an 8. We can bring out 2 as a common factor. So we bring out this 2, we get half times 2 times bracket. Now if we bring out 2 from 2x, we're left with x. If we bring out 2 from x, we get 4. So when we expand this, when you multiply this 2 by 2, where x may get 2x, you multiply this 2 by 4, you get 8. Right, half times 2, that's just 1. So now we just have x plus 4 brackets x minus 5. Now let's expand this. X times x is x squared. X times minus 5 is minus 5x. 4 times x is 4x. And plus 4 times minus 5 is minus 20. So let's tidy this up. Minus 5 plus 4 is minus 1. So you have x squared minus x minus 20. Is this what we're looking for? No, because we're looking for minus 56. But we do have our last line we've not looked at. The area of the trapezium is 36. So we equate this to 36. And now we just take 36 off both sides, because this thing on the right hand side is 0. And we want this to be 0, so we're going to drag that over there. We're going to take 36 away from both sides. 20 minus 36, minus 20 minus 36 is minus 56. And 36 minus 36 is just 0. So now we have our thing, and that's our proof. And there is 4 whole marks. What a world, right? Solve the equation. Okay, now we want two numbers that multiply together to get 56 and have a difference of 1. So let's go through the numbers. 1 times 56, that's 57. That's 50. The difference is 55, so no. 2 times, now we go through 2 divided by 56. How many 2 is going to 5? 2, 4, 6, 2. Remainder 1. How many 2 is going to 16? 8. 28. The difference is 26, so we're not on the right track here. 3 Let's try 3. Well, actually, we can see, we can find out if 56 is a multiple of 3. We add the digits in 56 together. If it adds to a multiple of 3, we're grand. 5 plus 6 is 11. 11 is not a multiple of 3. So we know that 56 is not a multiple of 3. So we cross that out. Let's try 4. 4. How many 4s go into 56? How many 4s go into 5? 1 remainder 1. How many 4s go into 16? 4. So we have 4 times 14. Difference is 10. We're still not there yet. 5 is not 5 because it doesn't end in a 5 or a 0, like I said before. 6. Well, if it's not a multiple of 3, it can't be a multiple of 6, so we ignore 6. 7. Let's try 7. 56. 7. 7. 14. 21. 28. 35. 42. 49. 56. We have 8. Ow. We have 8 times 7. Or put 7 times 8 there. The difference is 1. Now we want this number to be a negative 1, not a positive 1. So we want the biggest number to be the negative. So we have x minus 7, and we have x. Oh no, sorry, I've done it exactly wrong. X minus 8, x plus 7. We want to solve this, so x equals 8 or x equals minus 7. Now, can I just leave that as it is? No. No, I can't, and I'll tell you for why. Because if x equaled minus 7 and we subbed in our value of minus 7, I mean, you've still got the right area. You'd still have an area of 36. But let's sub in minus 7. Minus 7 plus 2. Well, that gives you minus 5. Minus 7 plus 6. That's minus 1. Then minus 7 minus 5. That's minus 12. Now, you can't have a thing that is measured in negative centimeters. That doesn't exist unless we're... Well, for the purposes of this, it doesn't exist. You can't have a negative measurement. So we say that x can't equal minus 7. Therefore, x equals 8. And now it says, hence find the shortest side of the trapezium. Now if we look at all of this, so we should rub all this out. Which one's going to be the shortest side? Is it going to be the thing you're adding stuff to, or the thing you're taking stuff away from? It's going to be the thing you're taking stuff away from, because you have 8, and then for this bit you have to add 2, that gets 10. For this bit you have to add 6, you get 14. For this bit you take away 5, you get 3. If you've got a number and you want the shortest side, and you've either got a plus, or a subtraction, you want the shortest side, you want the smallest number. So you do the thing that makes the value smaller, you subtract him. So we want here 3. Because when x equals 8, 8 minus 5 equals 3. And that is the answer to that question. This was a optional question, but I hope you stayed on to this video long enough to... I hope you stayed onto this video long enough to actually watch this and hopefully understand it. I hope that was helpful. I shall be making the following videos soon. Thank you for watching and goodbye.